So is that my introduction? Am I going? Cool, man. What's up, everybody? My name is Mikey Jenny. I work for Little Light Studios. If you haven't heard about Little Light Studios, we do a lot of breaking down messages that are in movies. We know that the media is a very powerful tool. Anybody that's, a major corporation, they spend millions of dollars on giving products to celebrities because they know that if that celebrity wears that product or eats that product or drinks that product, that they're going to get the payoff, that it's going to come back. They call these people influencers for a reason. And so I'm living proof that the media is very powerful, does have an impact. In my testimony, I was raised in church. My parents taught me all the right things. And they said, we're not going to watch The Simpsons. We're not going to watch Beavis and Butthead. We're not going to watch MTV and all these things. And I began to get curious because my parents weren't providing me with the why. Why can't we watch these things? And so at Little Light, we like to give the why. I think if you don't have the why, if it's just like, don't do this because I said so, that's just going to cause curiosity, rebellion. And that's how it was in my life. And so when I got to be the age where I could like stay home while my parents went to the grocery store, or I'd stay the night at a friend's house, those friends' parents didn't have the same guardrails that mine did. So then I'd be playing Mortal Kombat. It was like the first violent video game, and it was fun. I'd be watching MTV and I'd see spring break and everybody's, in bikinis and they're hooking up, they're getting drunk, and there's a band playing on stage, and it looked fun. And I was like, I know a Christian's not supposed to be in that environment. So is Christianity just about keeping people from having fun? So I really got seduced by the media. Satan makes sin look fun. He packages it in a way that's like, yeah, we had this raging party and it was so much fun. It was awesome. And the credits roll. What they don't show you is the drunk driving accident on the way home that killed somebody, or the unwanted pregnancy that ended in an abortion, and all this drama and the STDs and all these things. Like, that's the part that Satan doesn't show you. Sin is fun for a season. That's biblical. But it ultimately has one destination: death and destruction. And so Satan just loves to use this tool. Media is such a powerful tool. World leaders around the world have used media as propaganda to, to make people think a certain way about themselves or someone else. Propaganda is painting somebody in a biased way just by using imagery or words. So I eventually saw Marilyn Manson for the first time, and I was like, I want to be just like that. And so I started to ask tough questions. The church didn't have good answers for me, and I thought, well, the church is just really narrow-minded and ignorant, and I'm going to look for truth somewhere else. I've always been a truth seeker my whole life, open-minded, skeptic, truth seeker. And so I just started looking for the truth other places, which led me down the road of the occult, because I was obsessed with Marilyn Manson. The movie The Craft came out that had 4 high school hotties that were practicing witchcraft, and it didn't look fairy tale. It didn't look like Harry Potter and things like this. They're literally doing binding spells. They're making a dude fall in love with them. They're changing the street light as they're driving. And there was a power about that I wanted. And so you're going to see, we're going to go through some examples to show how Satan uses the media to make God look like a tyrant, a villain, to make Satan look like a good guy, somebody that's a sympathy for the devil, somebody that's misunderstood. And so this is what Gnosticism is. So the title of this presentation is called Gnostic Propaganda, because Gnosticism is basically Luciferianism. The Gnostics believe that Lucifer was the good angel, that he came to Adam and Eve to try and set them free from this tyrannical dictator God that had them in this perfect garden. And he was trying to keep them from knowledge. That's why he didn't want them to eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. It's not just knowledge of good, it's good and evil. And that's what God wanted to keep us from, the knowledge of evil. But in Gnosticism, Lucifer is the hero. He's the good guy because he's setting Adam and Eve free. He's enlightening them so that they can become higher evolved. And this, Yahweh was the one who was trying to keep them from that knowledge and evolving. So I hope my slides are going to be on the screen here because I'm going to start going through them. So can fictional stories have an influence? That's the question. A lot of pushback we get on Little Light Studios. We cover this stuff all the time. Constantly for 12 plus years, we've been putting out information. Look, they're doing the same thing. Hollywood's doing the same thing. They're putting the same story out in a different package over and over and over again. And the pushback we get all the time is like, look, man, it's a fictional movie. I'm not a fictional story. I know the difference in fiction and reality, and some movies not going to change my worldview. And hey, look, that might be true in your life. You might be so grounded on truth that you're not going to have your faith shaken. But think about the knowledge of the gospel getting out into the world. It's only coming from this small corner over here, like a little tract in the bathroom, or 2 or 3 channels on television, or the few that are on YouTube or whatever. But the majority of the message that people are getting is witchcraft is cool. New Age and yoga are, great exercises for your mind and your body. And it's just all these other religions being pushed out. And then the movies, what message is being pushed over and over and over again? Repetition, it's hypnosis, it's programming. That's why they call it programming. Hollywood, why is it called Hollywood? Because the wood of holly is what they make witches' wands out of, and they make them out of holly because the berries are known to put you to sleep. So Hollywood's literally lulling its spell. It's casting a spell. Remember, broadcasting. It's casting its spell over humanity, lulling them to sleep, giving them their message. A lot of these terms are right in our face. The American Idols, right? They're literally idols. These actors, they're the stars. Biblically, stars are angels. Celebrities, we celebrate these people. Programming. So all the Broadway, the broad is the way to death and destruction, narrow is the way to life. So a lot of these terms are like right there in our face, and so many people just don't even recognize it. But can fictional stories have an influence? So here's an example. The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Does it have an influence? Why would parents read their kids this story? Because they're trying to teach a moral lesson. The lesson is, the moral of the story is that liars will not be rewarded. Even if they tell the truth, no one believes them. Now, a parent could just say, hey, don't lie, because you'll get in trouble if you lie. But that's not going to stick as much as telling a story, because stories are powerful. Stories have impact, even if they're fiction. The Lorax by Dr. Seuss, a fictional story about trees that don't even exist in reality, but they're trying to teach a moral. It says, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So the moral in the story is, hey, let's take care of the environment. Let's not litter. Let's not cut down trees and all these things. That's the moral that's in the story. Yet it's about fictional characters. It's about a fictional world. It's about a fictional tree that doesn't even exist, but there is a moral in it. So we know that fictional stories have some kind of agenda, if you will, in them. Are people getting that message? Propaganda, the definition is information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. So a picture paints 1,000 words. I don't have any opinion about this person on screen, but if you look at the picture on the left, just a picture, you think, oh man, this guy, he's a savior. He's got a halo. Like, I can trust this guy. He's going to be someone I should vote for. Or if you look at the picture on the right, you're like, oh man, this guy's a liar. You can't trust him. So simply spray painting horns on somebody, or maybe a square mustache on their face, that paints a picture, right? That tells, without saying a word, you look at that person and you know they're being portrayed as a bad person. This is how Satan uses Hollywood. He tells stories, and you might think, no, no, he's the bad guy. Look, he looks evil. He's got horns. Well, don't just look at the picture, because the picture is the propaganda. Look at the character. What does he represent? What does his name mean? I mean, these things are so deep. A lot of times people are like, oh, you guys are looking too deep into it. No, they say it's just mindless entertainment. That's not true. That's actually a slap in the face to the writers, the directors. There's a lot that goes into these Hollywood movies that they spend millions of dollars on, billions sometimes. I've actually looked up The Matrix changed my life. There's testimonies of people who said The Matrix literally changed my life. Like, I watched that movie, I don't even think the same. And so we say the same thing. We're like, hey, this movie has a message that can change your life. It's powerful. No, no, you're looking way too deep into it. You can't have it both ways. Media is powerful. It can change your life. It can completely change your worldview. And it's just like we have a biased opinion if we think that that could negatively affect us, because we want to feel like we're in control of our own thoughts and things like that. So Hitler used propaganda. He made himself look like, children love him. There's a dove flying over his head and these light beams, like a savior. Military leaders of the world use military propaganda, or use media propaganda, such as posters. But now we have things like movies with, all these tricks, subliminal tricks. There's something in the background. His name means something. The character, there's so much in here. It's not just mindless entertainment. Jesus knows the power of fiction. In Matthew 13:34, it says, all these things Jesus spoke to the multitudes in parables, which is a fictitious story. And without a parable, he did not speak to them. So Jesus was literally teaching the gospel using fictional stories. If you went and heard Jesus preaching on the Mount of Olives or on a hill somewhere, and you took everything he said as a literal story, you'd walk away being like, yeah, I listened to some guy teach me how to plant crops and how to build a house on a rock. No, there was a moral in that. And you were supposed to get that moral, or else you missed the whole sermon. So Jesus knows the power of fiction. How does Satan counterfeit this? Satan counterfeits everything. He's not original. Everything that Satan does is a counterfeit of what God is doing, because he works through deception. He can't just come out as an outright liar, because nobody would believe a lie. A lie is too easily recognized. He uses deception. He speaks in 99% truth, but 99% truth isn't truth. When he talked to Eve in the garden, he said, did not God say you could eat of every tree? Well, yeah, that was true, except the part that he said, but not of this tree, right? So Satan loves to use truth and mix it with error. And Satan is saying, you know what? Jesus told stories. I'm going to tell stories. I'm going to tell my side of the story through this amazing media, through Hollywood, with special effects and explosions and these awesome stories. But the whole thing is what is Satan's side of the story? God is a tyrant. He has all these rules that nobody can keep, and he's a villain, and he wants to destroy the world, and he wants to kill all your family and friends. That's Satan's side of the story. And his side is like, look, I'm just trying to save humanity, and I'm misunderstood, and there's no forgiveness for me. It's a sympathy for the devil story. You're going to see this same thing in so many different genres of movies. So I could give you a whole hour or more on just superhero movies. I could give you a whole hour or more on just Disney or just video games or any of these things. But I'm going to go through and give you a couple examples of almost every genre, so that you can see, like, it's not just in one thing. Because if I just did superheroes, you'd say, hey, I don't even watch superhero movies. But it's even in the children's stuff. You know, a lot of times people say, man, you guys are making a big deal out of a kid's movie. No, it should anger you even more that this is in children's entertainment. Like, it's not just like, oh, you guys are upset about a kid's movie. No, I'm upset that there is a message, there's an agenda, there's propaganda in the kids' entertainment. That's what angers me. So, Parent Map, not a Christian website, it says 15 movies that help kids do the right thing. It says, we parents work hard to teach our kids to do the right thing. Doing the right thing conversations are not always easy to have, which is why we recommend this unexpected strategy to help. Watch a movie. So, you know, it seems like sometimes it seems like Christians are the only ones that want to have pushback and say, oh, the media is not influential. No, secular people know it's influential. That's why they're called influencers. That's why they spend millions of dollars to give that product to some celebrity. And it says, Screen Rant, also not a Christian website, says 10 children's movies that have terrible moral lessons. And it's going on talking about the movie Moana. And it says, one of the biggest moments in the film is when Moana defies the commands of her parents and sets out on the ocean alone. Though an inspiring moment, it also seems to suggest that if there is something a kid really wants to do, they don't have to listen to their parents at all. This isn't just in Moana. You're going to see that Disney loves to give the story, break the rules and follow your heart. Every movie. Oh, and also talk to the dead. Lion King talks to his dead father. Mulan talks to the ancestors. Pocahontas talks to the elements and dead people and all this stuff. Disney loves to put spiritualism, break the rules, follow your heart. Follow your heart is just a pretty way of saying, do what thou wilt. The Bible says the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Because our emotions go up and down like a roller coaster. You can't trust your emotions. You can't trust your feelings. There's coming a deception upon the world that you're going to be deceived unless you are grounded on the truth, on thus saith the Lord, because you're going to see signs and wonders and miracles. You're going to have emotions and feelings and all these things that, you know, dead loved ones talking to you and all these things that pull on the heartstrings. Satan is going to deceive the entire world. It says that the dragon is going to deceive the entire world. How is he going to do it? I believe media is going to play a huge influence on preparing the minds to fight Christ, to side with Satan, and to follow your emotions. So children imitate fiction. We see this, you know, they love their comic book heroes and they dress up like them. And a kid will try to like jump off a balcony after watching Superman. I actually heard a story of 3 kids who let a spider bite their hand after watching Spider-Man, and they all had to go to the hospital. But what if the hero is the devil? You got these Marvel comics that are in DC as well that are called the Son of Satan, Blue Devil, Satana, the devil's daughter. Like, they're literally making the heroes satanic. Well, I don't read those. I don't read the ones that are about the devil. Look, so many of these heroes are just dark. Strike Force, Hellstrom, Satana again. But even the ones that you think like more, you know, not so dark, they don't hide the fact that they're gods. They're literally called the lost gods. Here you got Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman called the Trinity. You have the God Squad, and the dude has a pentagram on his chest. They are repackaged gods. We're going to hear that from the artist mouths themselves. This isn't just me being some zealous Christian trying to make something out of nothing. CBR is comicbookreview.com, not a Christian website. It's all about comic books. And it says, Holy Books, 15 divine comic book stories. And in the article, it says Superman, Batman, Martian Manhunter, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman, all of whom collectively stood in for the classic gods they most resemble. Another reason is that it had some fantastic storylines, some of which are rooted fundamentally in classic mythology. So they're standing in for the classic gods. The stories are based off of classic mythology. In issue 6 through 8, for example, the team fights actual angels that threaten the earth. One angel, Zuriel, even fights side by side with the team. So in one of these storylines, they're fighting angels that are threatening the earth. What angels are threatening the earth? When Christ returns, he's coming with his angels to destroy the earth with fire. Now, in Revelation, it says that 3 unclean spirits like frogs are going to unite the militaries of the world to fight against the coming of Christ. So we're going to see a pattern. All these comic book movies, all these many different movies are giving you the storyline that we need to band together and save Earth from some outside threat that's coming. The same story over and over. It's the end of the world. We all had to band together and fight against this cosmic threat. It's the same story. What is it? It's satanic propaganda to get us to a point where it's predictive programming, where we're going to be on the side of Satan fighting Christ. If we really believe Bible prophecy is true, and it says that unclean spirits are going to unite the militaries of the world to fight Christ, do we really believe it's going to happen? And if we believe it's going to happen, how is it going to happen? Through propaganda like this, over and over and over, brainwashing, programming, hypnosis. This article goes on to say, but more importantly, as gods, characters like Wonder Woman, for example, are shown as being stronger and wiser, while Superman is at the peak of his power. Batman, meanwhile, plays the ultimate god of the underworld. Batman is the god of the underworld. He's not just a bat. I thought he was a bat. But we're going to see from the artist's mouths themselves that these heroes are literally repackaged gods, that Batman is literally a demon. We're going to hear all of it right here.
The ancient gods of Greece and Rome and Egypt still exist. Only today they wear spandex and capes.
Superman is Zeus, Batman is Hades, Aquaman is Neptune, and they kind of fit into the pantheon of gods of a lot of different cultures.
So he literally just said, Batman is Hades, Superman is Zeus. Grant Morrison is one of the most popular writers of all time. Like, he's like the Helio Gracio of comic book writers, and he's telling you that these heroes are repackaged gods. Now, when the Bible says, speak no mention of these other gods' names, and here we are reading the comic books that are literally telling you the mythology of these classic gods, that God said, don't even make a mention of their names. And we're wearing the t-shirt, and we have the little idol on our shelf, maybe a couple of them. Maybe we collect little statues of these classic gods, Greek, Roman, Norse. Here's where one of the artists is going to say that Batman is literally a demon.
Reasons that Batman has been so popular for so long is his iconography is that of a demon. We look at the paintings of medieval paintings of devils in museums, the batlings, the larns. He looks like something that's dark and evil, and his origins are in an act of murder, and yet he's on your side.
And yet he's on your side. He's a demon, but he's on your side. Look, the comic books are literally called Batman Birth of the Demon, Batman Son of the Demon, Batman Tales of the Demon. He's not a bat. He's a demon. This is coming from the comic book titles, from the author's mouths. And even if you think he's not a demon, he's the god of the underworld, Hades. He's Satan. Literally.
There's the old Flash, and then there's the new Flash. The old Flash is a perfect counterpart for Hermes or Mercury in the old myths. You know it immediately when you see the helmet with the wings on it. It refers to the god of the messengers. In a fascinating way, the artists who are creating today's comics are doing heroic work by taking the timeless tales that began in the world of myth and bringing them into the future.
Are you with me?
So these authors aren't hiding it at all. They're openly telling you these superheroes are gods, are false gods. He said they're taking the classic mythology and they're giving them again to the people of now. So here's Grant Morrison. Think about this. If I were to come up to your kid and I said, "Here, man, you ought to check out this book," and they're like, "Well, what's it about?" Well, it was actually the author. He channeled a demon, and the demon said, "Hey, write this gospel to the world, and it'll keep you from dying." Yeah, imagine if I gave your kid a book and I said that demons told the author to write it or else he was going to die. Would you let them read that book? No, I hope not. Well, Grant Morrison is going to tell you that he's literally writing his stories because he was about to die and he saw the Gnostic Jesus and he said, "You don't have to die. All you have to do is write what we tell you to write." And Grant Morrison said, "I'll do it," because he didn't want to die. Everything that he was drawing was happening to him. He wrote that his character broke out in boils, and he broke out in boils. He wrote that his character was about to die, and he started dying. And this is when this experience happened. Listen to this clip.
I was sweating constantly. I was getting fevers and having these like shakes and rigors, and then freezing. I just couldn't get up anymore. And I lay in front of the fireplace in my house.
And when he thought he was going to die, when he broke down in tears, and he was delirious.
And suddenly this giant column of light comes through the door. Bear in mind, I'm hallucinating. This is one of the most amazing hallucinations I've ever had. And it's Jesus. The first thing he said was the thing I put in the comment. Just this voice suddenly announced itself. "I am not the God of your fathers, I am the living stone that breaks all." So then he said to me, "Okay, you're about to die now, but you don't have to die." And I said, "Well, I really don't want to die. What do I have to do?" And he said, "Well, if you want to stay here, you have to work for us. You have to spread the light."
If you want to stay here, if you want to stay alive, you have to work for us and you have to spread the light. And that's what Grant Morrison agreed to do. He's spreading the light of demonic doctrines. The Bible says that in the latter times, many will fall away from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of demons. And this is what's happening today. How many people are leaving the church, leaving the faith, and they're obsessed with comic books, Hollywood, movies, all these things? They're being fed doctrines of demons. Here's Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance, who also writes comics along with Grant Morrison. And he's literally going to tell you that we are the new disciples, that pop culture is the new gospel out there. It's a new religion. And we're giving you a new version of the Bible for today's era. Listen to what he says.
Being fans of something, be it from Buffy to Superman to anything else, the real diehard fans, I think there's almost a reason that they call us all disciples in a weird way, because I do think there's that connection of mythology that we almost take it so personally, because it is, a lot of weird ways, and people are going to hate me for saying this, religion or mythology. It's our guideline for to get our moral code and our integrity and our courage. We actually use them as a basis. And then it made me think, well, if that's the case, and it actually is, like, pop culture is actually the new mythology. So any of us wield, I described it to him as it's almost like you're doing an ongoing series of the Bible.
It's almost like you're doing an ongoing series of the Bible. We are disciples. Pop culture is the new religion. He's not exaggerating. I mean, he's like on the inside telling you, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I experienced. Dude, he deals with fans all day long. He sees from the inside, as an insider, what this is doing. That pop culture really is a religion. And like Grant Morrison said, he's writing doctrines of demons and giving it to the world. This is what we are entertaining our minds with. In this clip, you're going to hear how the final, whatever the final comic is, where all the Greek and Norse and Roman gods come together and fight against Armageddon.
The big climax to Grant's run near the end of the 90s was World War III, which climaxed with every man, woman, and child on Earth temporarily inheriting superpowers so that they could team up with the Justice League to fight off Armageddon from above. It was the most amazing sight. 6 billion people all rising from the earth, all flying. Look up in the sky. It's 6 billion people.
This is literally what Revelation says, that demons are going to unite the militaries of the world to fight against the coming of Christ. And here's the comic saying everyone on the planet Earth is coming together, rising from the earth and fighting against Armageddon from above. Are you seeing it? I hope this is like crystal clear. And I hope it doesn't seem like I'm just trying to twist things and make something out of nothing. Like, this is literally giving you Satan's side of the story. This is Satan telling his side of the story. And he's giving it to you way more than church is. People are going to church for 1 hour a week, reading their Bible, maybe, if they get a chance, if they think about it, if they have time for it, and then sit down and fill their minds with Satan's side of the story over and over and over again. Even if it doesn't change your worldview, you're wasting your time, for one. You're filling your mind with a message that is going against your God, that's making your God look like a tyrannical villain, and is glamorizing witchcraft, glamorizing the occult, glamorizing Satan, sympathy for the devil. There's so many reasons like we need to turn away from these things. We sing these songs, be careful little eyes what you see, be careful little ears what you hear. And then we get older and we say, this stuff doesn't affect me. I can consume all this stuff. So I'm going to go through a couple different movies here. The Matrix was one of my favorite movies all time. My favorite movies were The Matrix and the Terminator series. Those were like my all-time. I loved the sci-fi, time travel, all this type stuff. And so remember what I said. Don't judge by what you see. A picture paints 1,000 words. Propaganda is drawing a halo over somebody, drawing some horns on somebody. So don't look at the imagery. Look at who they represent. Look at the real character, not the illusion, not the mask on the front. The villains in the Matrix are 3 beings that talk alike, speak alike, finish each other's sentences. They're literally like a trinity, and it says that they're assassins and secret police. If I had to describe God, he would be like a secret policeman, right? You can't see him. He's a secret, and he's the law enforcer, right? And then it says they were old enough to witness the creation of paradise, and the Nightmare Matrix prototypes. So these are a representation of God, of the Godhead. They're the villain. They're the ones that are trying to make sure everyone follows the rules, right? And Neo, he is approached by this man named Morpheus, who's wearing this long jacket. It's not leather. The jacket is made out of scales, reptile scales. He's wearing a long, scaly coat, and he says, I can open your eyes. If you just eat this red pill, think of the Garden of Eden. Blue represents the law. And he says, if you take the blue pill, you can stay in Neverland. You won't know the truth. You're not even going to remember this experience. You're just going to go on living in the perfect Garden of Eden that this villain of a God has put you in. Or you can eat this red pill that's going to open your eyes. As you can see, there's a parallel to him and the snake in the garden. Even like the glasses give him these beady eyes. And when Neo grabs that red pill and pops it in his mouth, the camera goes to Morpheus and you see him give an evil grin and you see lightning and thunder in the background as if God is angry at the decision. This is so deep. The Wachowski brothers, who are now the Wachowski sisters because they're transgender, they said that this movie is Gnostic. I'm not making this up. They're literally telling you it's Gnostic. They're telling you it's so deep that everything about the names and everything have meaning. And so many people will tell you this movie changed my life. Now, they're not going to like what I'm saying about it, because what I'm saying is, hey, we shouldn't be watching this because it does impact your life, and it does attack your God and attack your religion. But if you just look up The Matrix Changed My Life, you're going to see that many, many, many people admit it. They even write school reports on it, and they do it in college and all these things. It was an impactful movie. So after he takes the pill, Morpheus takes him to the Matrix, and he's showing him through a new set of eyes. He's opening his eyes. Now he's going to show him. Now, look, this is a world that follows the rules. The light, they're all waiting. Notice what's represented here. Everything's black and white. There's no gray. It's just right and wrong. There's no middle ground. There's even nuns represented to represent religion, and they're all waiting for the light to change, and they're all walking towards us, but Morpheus and Neo walk against the grain. This is very symbolic, very deep. They're walking against the grain, bumping into people because they're going the wrong direction. And then Morpheus says, this is our enemy. Teachers, lawyers, carpenters, they are the enemy. Why would he pick those three things? Out of everything he could have said, teacher, lawyer, carpenter. That's Jesus. That's Yeshua. He is our advocate. He's a lawyer. He's a teacher. And he's a carpenter. He's like, out of all the people in history that you can think of that were all three things, a teacher, a lawyer, and a carpenter, Jesus is the only one I can think of. And he says he is the enemy. Now, at the end of the movie, Neo goes into a phone booth and he calls the Matrix. The Matrix is the system of rules, the system that God has created. And he's talking to the Matrix, and this is what he says at the final. This is the moral of the movie. This is the lesson that they want you to walk away with. It says, I know you're out there. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change, because God never changes, right? I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. I'm going to show them a world without you, a world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries, a world where anything is possible. Where we go from here is a choice I leave to you. This is the words of Satan to God. He's saying Satan's whole thing was, I can do it my way. I will make my throne up there with the stars of heaven. And so Satan is saying, I'm going to tell the whole world that they can live without you, without rules, without borders, without controls. I hope you guys can see that this is a satanic message, and yet he's the hero of the movie. So let's look at Star Wars for a second. Darth Vader, he's the villain. He's the bad guy, right? But his name is Lord Vader, which means father. He's the evil empire, right? He's the ruler over the galaxy, if you will. And he has this interesting outfit on with this chest plate that's very similar to the high priest outfit, which Christ is wearing because he's our high priest. Now, don't think I'm reaching here. His name is Lord Vader. He's wearing this interesting chest plate. And when you go to one of these Comic-Cons, they wheel around the suit from the original movie. And in between the buttons on that chest plate is Hebrew writing. Why is there Hebrew writing on an alien from a far distant galaxy long, long ago? Why is there Hebrew on there? I'm going to build the case more. I'm not just reaching here. Notice that Darth Vader's army is in perfect order. They're all in perfect white, just like God's kingdom is in perfect order. And then it says that he was the prophesied chosen one. He was, look, when I hear the word prophecy, I just think Bible. Like that's where my mind goes. Prophecy, Bible. Yet in Star Wars, there was a prophecy about a chosen one, and he's the villain. He's the Lord Vader. Now, in the movie, there's a scene where Anakin is fighting somebody, training or whatever, and somebody asks his mother and says, "Who? The Force is strong with this one. Who's his father?" And she says, "There was no father. I can't explain it. I was just pregnant." Interesting. So, who is a Lord who wears this interesting chest plate, who has a perfect army of white that's in a perfect alignment, and was born without a father, born into a mother without a father? The comic book says there was no father, unnatural, the chosen one. Oh, yeah. And he was prophesied. He was the prophesied chosen one that had no father and is called Lord. With that alone, you should know who he is. Remember, don't look at the imagery. The imagery is the propaganda. If I tell you, hey, there's this, okay, try to guess who I'm thinking of. He was prophesied about. He's the chosen one. He was born without a father. They call him Lord. No brainer, right? It's Jesus. It's Yeshua. Like, there's a no brainer who this is. Now, remember, he's Lord Vader. He's the father. So if he's the father of Luke Skywalker, interesting name. Luke means light, and Lucifer's name is the light bearer, and his name is Skywalker, and Satan is known as the prince and the power of the air. I just think it's interesting. Luke, light Skywalker, and Lord Vader, or Jesus, is his father. And so, or Lord Vader, Lord Father, is his father. And who does Luke Skywalker run with? Vader runs with the perfect, dressed in white, perfect order, but Luke Skywalker is with the rebellion. Join the rebellion. Age of the rebellion. Resist the empire. Notice that the rebellion, they're chaotic. They're not in perfect order. They just do whatever. And what is an empire? An empire is an extensive group of states or countries under a single supreme authority. So if Lord Vader, the prophesied one who had no father, rules an empire, this is another description of Jesus. When Christ comes, he's going to be the Lord of the empire. The entire earth is his. So now let's go into some cartoons. Wreck-It Ralph. I actually really liked Wreck-It Ralph when I seen it, but I'm going to show you the storyline here. Ralph is the bad guy. He's the villain, but notice that he looks real sad and you're kind of sympathetic for him, and he's sitting in the city dump. Now, what is he looking at? What's he gazing at? He's gazing at a penthouse over here, and all the lights are on the top floor, because if you've seen the movie, you see the beginning backstory where Felix and all the people that live up here, they throw him out. They cast him out into the city dump. Now, where they cast him out of is called Nice Land. It's a very, fantasy way to say heaven, right? If I had to give heaven some kind of, parable of a name, Nice Land, that sounds like a fitting title, right? Felix is a carpenter. We just talked about Jesus being a carpenter in the Matrix, and now Felix, the one that they all adore in Nice Land, is a carpenter. But look at the countenance on the people that live in Nice Land. They don't look too inviting, right? They're looking at him with a glare. Oh, and Ralph is looking sad, covered in mud and sin. And you're supposed to feel sympathetic for him, the villain who was cast out. There's some other little nods to him being Satan, where he's offering fruit, and there's a snake right there. Actually, he goes to these meetings called, I think it's called Bad Guy Anonymous, and he's sitting around in a circle with other villains and other bad guys from video games and things like that. And he's saying, you know what? I don't want to be bad. And they're like, whoa, you're going to mess up the system. You were created to be bad. And see, that's the misunderstanding. That's the born this way mentality. I was born this way. I can't change my lifestyle. I can't change who I identify as. God didn't create a devil. He created a beautiful angel that was literally right next to Christ. He was the highest position as an angel. And yet he turned, he rebelled. He wasn't created that way. And so he's saying, I want to be good, but I can't be good because I was created to be bad. And in that circle is the devil. And Ralph literally says, thanks, Satan. He says that in the movie. So now let's put our Bible glasses on and look at what's happening here. Ralph says, I can be like the Most High, basically. He's saying, I can be like Felix. Felix is only, the hot stuff because he has this medal. He has a medal that, like you win in a race. And he's saying, if I got a medal, I could be like Felix. So the whole thing is Ralph is trying to get a medal that makes him like God. And so he meets a girl at the tree. Bible glasses, Genesis, Ralph, the devil, meeting a girl at a tree. And he's offering her this medal that makes one like God. Remember, the snake said, if you eat this fruit, you will be like God. Your eyes will be open and you'll see good and evil. And so she takes the medal that makes one like God, and then she glitches out for the first time on screen. Now, this glitch represents sin. And so everybody's telling her, look, you can't glitch out. Don't glitch, because if the master of the game sees you glitching out, he'll unplug the system and we're all going to die. Remember, Satan is speaking in truth, but he's twisting the story. So he's telling you all the truth. Look, this metal, this fruit, it made you sin, and now I got to cleanse the earth. But in this movie, she's saying, you know what? I swear I'll never glitch again, because she doesn't want other people to get hurt. She doesn't want the game to get unplugged. So she swears, I'll never glitch again. Does she keep that promise? No. Actually, she gets in a race with some other characters, and in order to win the race, she actually uses the glitch to her benefit. Now, the message is that you should use the glitch because it'll help you win. And when she crosses the finish line, she becomes a princess. And I don't have a screenshot of it, but if you've seen this scene in the movie, all these other racers are crawling on their knees and literally worshiping her. They're bowing before her because she used sin to cross the finish line and win the race and save the day. She becomes the hero. And what about Ralph, the satanic bad guy character? Oh, he's our favorite bad guy. See, the moral of the story wasn't, oh, you know what? You should fix yourself and not be a glitch. And Ralph, you can be a good guy. No. We need to embrace that glitch. And she became the most selected player, the movie says. Oh, she was the favorite player by all the people that played the game. And Ralph, oh, he's our favorite bad guy. He didn't have to repent and change. No, he can wear a medal and come up to Nice Land with all of us. There's a movie called Ron's Gone Wrong. Now, when you look at the poster here, you see everyone in white. Everyone's perfect. You're going to see this message over and over in entertainment. Perfection is bad. Perfection is wrong. We need to fight against perfection. We don't want perfection. That is Satan's message. Fight against perfection. So you have all these perfect white robots, and then there's one, oh, he's quirky and fun. Oh, he stands out. And this is how they make you identify with the story. They're going to pull on your heartstrings. They're going to say, look, it's about being creative. It's about being yourself and all these things. But what's the shirt say? Out of control. You can't control him. You can't give him rules or laws or anything. He's out of control. But he's the good guy and he's cute, right? So, spoiler alert, this comes from moviespoiler.com. This is going to give you like a real brief on the plot of the story. And it says Graham later gets Barney a B-bot that is slightly damaged, and it turns out to be defective and destructive. So the main character, the little cute robot you just saw, he's defective and destructive. So basically, in the movie, all the kids have a little robot that follows them around, and it records them, and they're all like YouTubers and stuff. But the robots actually protect the children. Like if it shows a kid on a skateboard, he's about to go off the curb into the street, and the robot keeps him from going off the curb. So the robots that actually protect children. And so the kid wants one because every other kid has one, and the dad's broke. He's a starving inventor, I think. And so he goes into a back alley and buys a B-bot from the back alley. And this one's defective and destructive. And it says, while Barney and Ron start to become friends, Bubble, the company that made the B-bot, catches wind of Ron's existence because he hit Barney's classmate Rich, as well as a police officer. The company tries to have Ron crushed, but Barney sneaks him out. So think about this. The creators, think about God. He's the creator, right? The creator realizes, oh, wait a minute. One of my robots is defective and destructive. I need to crush it. I need to destroy it. That's what God's going to do, right? He's going to annihilate sin. Sin is going to be annihilated from the earth, but they're painting it in a bad light. This is how Satan is pushing his propaganda. He's telling you the truth, but he's making it like, no, the creators are bad. They want to crush the B-bot, but they're friends, even though he's destructive and defective. So Barney actually sneaks him out. And when he sneaks him out, he realizes he's like in the headquarters of the company. And he realizes that if he puts the B-bot in the machine, by the way, the robot that's defective and destructive literally walks around stabbing a knife. Like he's really like a killer. They don't show it in the cartoon, but he's running around with a butcher knife. And so the kid finds out that if he puts the robot in the system, that the Wi-Fi will spew out and convert all the B-bots to become like Barney's B-bot, defective and destructive. It tells you right here at the end of this article, it says, months later, all the other kids have B-bots acting like Ron. Happily ever after, credits roll. Is there a problem here? Every kid gets to have, instead of a robot that protects them and keeps these rules and everything, instead, every kid gets to have a defective and destructive robot. And that's the happy ending of the movie? Look, there's a problem here. This isn't coming from a Christian website. This is just a website telling you the story, the plot of the story. So this has been going on for a long time. We're going to look at a couple different movies. Aladdin, he was friends with this genie. What is a genie? It comes from the root word jinn. And right here it says 1678, Jenny means demon. So Aladdin's best friend is a demon. And the song is like, you never had a friend like me. Yeah. Like, hey kids, you should have a demon for a friend too. Let's sing a song about it. Never had a friend, never had a friend. Now watch this movie clip, because remember, put your Bible glasses on and pay attention to what's happening. I'm going to set it up a little bit. Basically, Jasmine lives in a kingdom. She lives in a palace, and she doesn't want to be there. Remember, there's always an attack on perfection, always an attack on the kingdom. We want to go to a desolate place. She lives in the kingdom with the king, and she's falling for this thief. And he's, looking at the kingdom like, wow, what a beautiful place. And she's like, oh yeah, where everybody tells you what to do and what to wear. And she's making it like a dreadful place. Watch this clip.
Yep, just me and a boo. Come and go as we please.
That sounds fabulous.
Well, it's not much, but it's got a great view. Wow, the palace looks pretty amazing, huh?
Oh, it's wonderful.
I wonder what it'd be like to live there. Have servants, and valets.
Oh, sure, people who tell you where to go and how to dress.
That's better than here. You're always scraping for food and ducking the guards.
You're not free to make your own choices.
Sometimes you feel so
You're just
trapped. So, where are you from?
What does it matter?
Look, nothing is by accident in a movie, especially in animation. Okay, Hollywood, they have set designers. They have hair and wardrobe makeup. Nothing is by accident. If there's some picture on the wall in the background, it wasn't just, grab it from some yard sale and let's throw it up there. No, they have a reason and a purpose for it being there. Animation, all the more, because they have to draw every single frame of this. Now, he is a thief. Aladdin is a thief. The people are chasing him saying thief, and he stole this apple. And he gave the woman an apple as he's looking at a kingdom saying, oh, I wish I could live there. And she's saying, oh, yeah, where you don't get to have your own choice. You don't get to make your own choices. See, God's a tyrant. He's got all these rules, and you can't really do what you want to do. This is Satan's side of the story that he's pushing to children. Now, think about prophetically. Prophetically, we are the children of a king. And our father, the king, wants us to marry the Prince of Peace, which makes us what? Prophetically, if we're the bride of Christ and we're going to marry the prince, that makes us a princess. So all these princesses movies, think about prophetically. She's a princess. Her father wants her to marry the prince. And instead, she falls in love with the thief, Satan. Not just reaching. In the song, when he picks her up, he says, I can open your eyes. The line right before it says, tell me, princess, now when did you last let your heart decide? Oh, follow your heart, right? Follow your heart, and I can open your eyes. That serpent language, when you look at Genesis, when he says, eat this fruit, and your eyes will be open. And then underneath it, it says, he's going to take her to a whole new world where no one to tell us no or where to go. A world with no rules. I'll open your eyes, follow your heart, and no rules. The same movie over and over and over again, just repackaged. It's like brainwashing propaganda. When you finally have the veil removed and you can see through all this, you can't even watch this junk anymore because you're like, this is propaganda. Like you just can't watch it because you're like, this is the same message over and over and over. There's an agenda every time. Genesis 3:5, it says, for God doth know that in the day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open. That's what the serpent told Eve. And here we literally see him giving her an apple and saying he's going to take her to a world with no rules and he can open her eyes. Pan, from Peter Pan. You know where Pan comes from? Pan in Greek mythology is a fertility deity. And his father was usually said to be Hermes. And he's a product of an orgy. And he's a lustful figure having horns, legs, and ears of a goat. Notice Pan is playing the pan flute. He is the Greek god of sexual deviance, a fertility deity. Now, think about the story of Peter Pan when this boy flies up to the window of a young girl and says, hey, Wendy, come with me. I want to take you to I want to go take you to the Lost Boys. The Lost Boys. Where there's no rules and no parents. The only thing is you can never come back. Let's go. It's fun. We're going to the Lost Boys where there's no rules. The same story over and over. He's literally Satan. And she's going with him. And then you got Mulan, whose best friend is the dragon. And who is the dragon? According to the Revelation 12:9, it says, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceives the whole world. He was cast into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So, I mean, right there, you see that he is the devil. But when you watch the movie or when you see the storyline, I haven't even watched the movie, but I've seen enough clips. He is Satan. He's supposed to take the throne, and the spirits of the dead ancestors are they don't want him to take the throne. But by the end of the movie, he rightfully gets his place on that throne. And there's a time when Mulan says, you know what? I had to break the rules and follow my heart. We're going to see that clip. We're going to see that same message in clip after clip after clip from Disney in a slide here in a second. Jeremiah 17:9 says, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Remember that scripture when you see these clips. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? And yet, what's the message that Disney and many other different cartoons that aren't even Disney are pushing? Listen to this message. This is going to be just a few clips back to back, and you're going to hear, well, we had to break the rules and we had to follow our heart.
Open the gate. I have to try this my way. Maybe it's time to start following your heart. A dream is a wish your heart makes. The dream that you wish will come true.
Where am I?
This is the great hall of judgment.
Judgment!
Welcome to doing whatever you wish. Tell me, princess, now when did you last let your heart decide? I can open your eyes, a whole new world, a new fantastic point of view. No one to tell us no or where to go. Really gonna marry the fairy prince? Yes.
Well, then follow your heart. Your shot to impossible things. If you follow your heart.
Nothing is impossible if you follow your heart.
A lovely story. Natura, you will understand. Listen with your heart, you will understand. Us close and not apart, when we speak our minds and listen with our hearts.
And give her the courage to follow her heart. Your only duty is to the Emperor.
But I have another duty to my heart. Your duty was to stay home, but your heart told you to break the rules. How did you decide between duty and heart? By following my feelings, I wound up doing the right thing. I guess I learned that my duty is to my heart. My duty is to my heart. Yes, that makes sense. That's marvelous. Thank you, Babylon. Thank you. Write our own story. Follow our hearts. The Croods made it because of my dad. He was strong, and he followed the rules. The ones painted on the cave walls. Anything new is bad. Curiosity is bad. Going out at night is bad. Basically, anything fun is bad. Welcome to my world. But now we know the Croods will make it. Because we changed the rules. The ones that kept us in the dark.
When life gets me down, I play my guitar. The rest of the world may follow the rules, but I must follow my heart.
You know what's crazy, right? To help my family, I gotta leave it. To fix the law, I gotta break it.
You'll be great.
Whether it's fair or not, that's the law.
The law should be fair. What are we teaching our kids?
Disney on Ice presents Follow Your Heart.
It's time to see what I can do to test the limits and break through. No right, no wrong, no rules for me. I'm free. Let it go.
Wow. That song has been sung by millions of girls, and the parents are just like, oh, so cute, let it go. And she's saying, no right, no wrong, no rules for me, I'm free. And if you watch the video, she starts off by wearing a long gown, and she's really, conservative dressing. And as she's saying, no right, no wrong, no rules for me, I'm free, her dress just kind of melts off and has this high cut upper leg, and she's showing, it's a low cut up here. And this is the message over and over and over. I hope you guys got that. It was Spanish translation, sorry. On our YouTube channel, we have it in English. It's a lot more powerful when you see the text written out. But over and over and over, let's break the rules, follow our heart. We had to follow the rules written on stone on the cave walls, but we changed the rules that kept us in the dark. The same message over and over and over. Transformers, what's wrong with that? No, not Transformers. It's the good guys versus the bad guys. Listen to the story. Who's the bad guy?
Before time began, there was the cube. We know not where it comes from, only that it holds the power to create worlds and fill them with life. That is how our race was born. For a time we lived in harmony, but like all great power, some wanted it for good, others for evil. And so began the war.
So the good guy is talking right there, and he's telling you, just listen, okay, we know not where it comes from, but it created all worlds and all life in it. Coincidentally, it happens to be a cube floating in space coming to Earth. Think about Revelation. There's a cube city that's coming to Earth. Now, what about this cube? What's the deal? Let's listen to the next clip.
Freedom is the right of all sentient beings. You all know there's only one way to end this war. We must destroy the cube.
So this is Satan's side of the story. Like, look, we all deserve freedom, but God is keeping us under these rules. We have to fight and destroy the creator. He literally told you the cube created all worlds and all life in it. And to get freedom, we got to destroy it. That's the moral. That's the lesson. Let's fight the creator. You're going to see it over and over and over. X-Men. It's literally called Apocalypse. Comes right from the Bible. Only the strong survive. Look at these characters. These are the good guys you're seeing. Beast or Nightcrawler or whoever this is. Nightcrawler looks like a demon. Storm with her eyes all whited out. There's an angel that's black. I mean, when you look at these characters, do you think friendly? No, you don't. These look like mean, evil people, but they're the heroes. Now listen to who the villain is. The villain's going to be talking in this clip, and listen to who he says he is.
I've been called many things over many lifetimes. Krishna, Yahweh.
The villain says, I've been called many things, and he says Yahweh. He is Yahweh, the villain. And remember, it's called Apocalypse, which means the revealing of Jesus Christ. Right here, Apocalypse is Greek, and it means a lifting of the veil or revelation. When we read the book of Revelation, it's a revelation of Jesus Christ. You know, we hear revelation. Some people that hear Revelation, they think, oh, that's a scary book. Oh, that's the end of the world. But it's the revelation of Jesus Christ. Apocalypse is not a scary word. It's the revealing. So here you're going to hear the villain who says he's Yahweh. He's going to talk a little bit more, and listen to the terminology he uses He's literally quoting Christ.
Some believe that the first mutant was born thousands of years ago. He was some kind of god, and he's going to rise again.
So here they're saying, look, he's some kind of god and he's going to rise again. That's Yeshua. That's Christ. He was some kind of god and he died and was resurrected, right? Now listen to the villain speak.
You are all my children, and you're lost because you follow blind leaders.
You're all my children, but you're lost because you follow blind leaders. This isn't just some verbiage that some evil person uses. This is literally the words of Christ.
No more false gods like we had now.
He always had 4 followers.
Like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
Together we will cleanse the earth for the.
So he says, no more false gods. And then you see all these wicked people drop. And then he says, we're going to cleanse the earth. That's what Christ is coming to do. And he's coming with 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. This is satanic propaganda saying the one who's coming to cleanse the earth, the one who's called Yahweh, the one who's a resurrected God, the one who's coming with the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, that's the villain. We need to band together and fight against him.
Doesn't it ever wake you up in the middle of the night? The feeling that someday they'll come for you and your children.
This clip isn't playing right.
He means to destroy this world. Billions of people killed. Sinking like stones, all that we fall.
The world needs the X-Men.
You're going to join them, aren't you?
You wanted me to get out of the house more, right?
It's all of us
Against a god.
Let's go to war.
Let's go to war. They're saying, look, we got to put aside all our differences. I think I haven't even seen it, but you can tell by the countenance and kind of like gather the context. They're like, yeah, you know, I'm not into this or whatever, but they're having to put aside their differences. And look, guys, we got to save humanity. We got to come together and fight against this threat that's coming from out there. That's what so many movies are about. It's the end of the world. It's a UFO. It's an asteroid. Something is coming. It's always, we need to come together. We need to save humanity. Look, if you're on this earth right now and you're a Christian, it is not our duty to come together and try to save the earth from anything. We know that the only thing coming from out there to earth is Christ to cleanse the earth. And if we're not on his side, then you need to be afraid. But if we're on his side, there is no fear because we're going to meet him. But Satan is going to deceive the entire world into fighting against Christ through repetition, hypnosis, propaganda, programming like this over and over and over. There's a threat coming, and we need to get together, guys. We need to fight against this thing and save the earth. It sounds so beautiful, right? We're all coming together. We're all uniting peace and safety, and we're fighting together to save humanity. This is a satanic lie. And so here's a newer movie. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 just came out a couple months ago, maybe. Same thing. The villain is saying he's got a sacred mission to create a perfect world, and he's the bad guy.
my sacred mission is to create the perfect society.
I'm gonna tell you something. We were gone for quite a while, but no matter what happens next, the galaxy still needs its guardians. Are you ready for one last ride?
So I want you to look at the good guys. They are literally aliens, some kind of tree guy. Like, they look like mutants, right? They're the good guys. They're walking in fire saying, we're going to have to fight this one last war. One of them's an alcoholic. I mean, when you read the Bible, it says those who will not inherit the kingdom are drunkards, whoremongers, all these things. And literally they're a representation of the wicked, and they're the good guys walking through the fire saying, it doesn't matter if we die, we're going to fight this war against the villain who says, I have a sacred mission to create a perfect people. And he's flying to earth. Like he's coming to earth. Something is coming and wants to create perfection. He's the villain. Fight him. You're going to hear more. They just keep building on the evidence.
He didn't want to make things perfect. He just hated things the way they are.
The guardians of the galaxy have no place in my world.
The guardians of the galaxy, the alien and the tree man and all these mutants have no place in my galaxy. So that's true. In God's perfect world, there's not going to be drunkards and mutants and aliens and demons and all these things. He's going to cleanse all that. But they're painting him as the villain. Remember, Satan's telling the truth, but twisting it. It's propaganda. He's painting horns on God. Yes, God does have a perfect, sacred mission to create a perfect people. He's going to cleanse the earth of drunkards and mutants and demons and all these things. But it's painted in the light that he's a villain. Listen to what he says here.
Some corners of the universe consider him God.
Some corners of the universe consider him God. They literally, like, it's just like the more you watch it, the more they're saying, they're putting it right in your face. Like they don't even have to hide it anymore. They're like, look, he's God. He's got a sacred mission to create a perfect people. And he's getting rid of he's going to kill all the drunkards and mutants. Then there was another movie that came out recently. I think this is the clip. Everything you love will be destroyed. This is how Satan paints God. Look, he's going to kill your family members just because of their lifestyle choices. He hates everybody. He's going to kill everyone you love. Doesn't that like enrage you? Like to think about someone killing people you love? But that's what's going to happen. If your family members do not accept Christ, they're going to be destroyed. And rightfully so, because who wants to live in a world, who wants to live in eternity with drunkards, liars, thieves, rapists, murderers? Nobody wants to live like that for eternity. But remember, he's painting horns on God and saying he's a villain. They are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and the whole world and gather them to the battle of the great day of God Almighty. If we believe prophecy is real, this is going to really happen. The humans of earth are going to fight together with demons fighting against Christ as he's returning. How are we going to get to a place like that? It just seems unfathomable. How could we ever get to a place like that? Through repetitious hypnosis, programming over and over and over. Everything you're watching from kids' cartoons to the video games, even we're not even talking about video games, to movies, it's all the same mess over and over and over. The Barbie movie, even the Barbie movie. And look, this movie's like one of the highest watched movies of all time because look, if you hate Barbie, oh, you're going to love it because they make fun of it. Oh, you love Barbie? You're going to love it. Are you a kid? Oh, you're going to love it. Are you a parent? You're going to love it. They made a movie that everyone was going to love because of its nostalgia, of its humor, and all these things. And remember, the attack on perfection. Perfection is bad. You got to know the truth. You got to have your eyes open, all these things. Listen to this movie.
It's the best day ever. It is the best day ever. So is yesterday, and so is tomorrow, and every day from now till forever. You guys ever think about dying?
Everyone is wearing gold and white, and they're all saying, yeah, yesterday was perfect, today's perfect, tomorrow's perfect, and forever is perfect. Now look at the world they live in. It's in the shape of a heart, a world of love. Everything's green, the water's blue, and outside of it is all just dull because they're in this perfect Eden. But in this clip, Well, actually, they're gonna explain even more about Barbie Land.
Deal with that in particular.
What are the biggest issues that President Barbie's facing right now?
You know, Barbie Land is perfect. So it's really just maintaining the order of perfection. Compliments are absolutely essential. We
Dance parties.
Dance parties.
Every 90
lots
minutes.
of words. Yeah, every 90 minutes.
Love your Barbie friends.
Words of affirmation constantly. Everything was, universally free education, healthcare, everything signed into law.
So a world of perfection. She said the keeping the order of perfection, kindness, sharing words of affirmation, all these things, and everything's free. This is perfection, a perfect world. Who would not want to live there?
What do I have to do? You have to go to the real world. You can go back to your regular life, or you can know the truth about the universe. The choice is now yours. The first one, the high heel. You have to want to know. Okay? Do it again.
So here she meets this I don't even know what to call her, some crazy Barbie with a circle around one eye, and when she meets her, everything's chaotic. Like her world right there, the world of that Barbie is chaos. Her house is all crazy. She's doing a handstand, she flips, and she just acts very demonic. And she's saying same thing as Morpheus. You can stay in this perfect world, or you can know the truth. You want to know the truth, right? And of course, she gets in the car and she's driving along, and you can tell she's outside of perfection because she's driving through a desert and all these things. So they all have the same story. You got this like new age type Christ, like Neo. And then in Gnosticism, the serpent was Sophia, this female who said, I can open your eyes. Sophia is the one who is the serpent. And then you have the villains who are always like the creator God. These are the secret police, the law enforcers. And then a movie called Smallfoot, which was a kid's movie, is the same thing. You got the main character who's like a new age Christ. You have the girl who tells him, look, everything you're believing is a lie. And then the bad guy is the stone keeper who's literally wearing a robe with a long white beard like God. And on his robe are these stones with rules written on them. They said they have to, they live in a world of perfection and they have to follow the rules written in stone. Lego movie, same thing. Emmett, who is a new age Christ, and he lives in a perfect world where everybody follows the instruction rules and everything is awesome. And then this girl named Lucy, or Lucifer, she says, hey, I can tell you the truth, and we all need to break the rules. And the bad guy is literally the father, the son. Like in the movie, you find out that the whole Lego world is controlled by a kid, and his dad is the villain. The father is the villain, and his name is Lord Business. So again, we got the creator God. Truman Show, same thing. He's in this perfect world. He doesn't realize that there's a whole new world outside there, and he's this new age Christ character. And there's a woman in the movie who's saying, Truman, it's all a lie. Like you got to escape this place. And then the villain who is keeping him there, his name is Christoph, and he lives in the moon, and he's out there with a guy named Moses. So literally the same story over and over and over. And I can show you some samples of how all these movies start off with a perfect world, but you're going to find out that that perfect world is really something bad that you want to escape. I didn't show those clips actually because they just take too much time. But when you look into those movies, you'll see Smallfoot, they lived in a perfect world. Lego world, Legoland, the Lego movie, they live in a world where everybody follows the instructions. And Truman Show, it's a perfect world because he lives in this dome thing. Now, why is the villain always portrayed as Christ? Even in these comic books, you notice that in the background of this villain, you see the 4 horsemen. You see the angels blowing their trumpets. Why is this behind the villain? Why is Christ being mocked and painted up like the Joker? Why is the Joker literally on a stained glass window with a halo around him and wearing a robe and a sash? Like, can you not see that there is an attack on Christ? There's an attack on the truth. There's an attack on the Bible. Again, you see Jared Leto as the Joker wearing a crown of thorns with his hands raised. For anyone to think, Christianity, that's not real. Like the Bible's a bunch of fairy tales. They've already been brainwashed. They've already been programmed, and they can't even see that there is a very real spiritual war going on all around us, that Satan is trying to win over your mind through psychological warfare. And he's trying to tell you over and over and over, Christ is the villain. God is the villain. Yahweh is the villain. Feel bad for the devil. He's the hero. We need to fight together to fight against a threat that's coming to earth. Jesus is immortal, all-powerful God, sits on a throne in the heavens, in the sanctuary, and he's coming to earth to destroy half of humanity, to separate the wheat from the tares, the sheep from the goats. You know who that's a description of that I just listed? Thanos. Same thing. Over and over and over. Thanos is an alien out there in space, sitting on a throne in a spaceship called the Sanctuary. And he's coming to Earth to snap his fingers and destroy half of humanity. And what's the main mission? What's the whole plot of the movie? Hey, all the mutants and false gods and demons and everything, we need to band together and fight against this evil being and save humanity, save the earth. It's the same story. It's always we need to get together and save humanity against an asteroid, against UFOs, against Thanos. There is a threat coming to Earth, and we need to fight against it. This is satanic. That's not what the Bible says. We need to be on Christ's side. We need to be ready when he comes. I believe he's coming soon. The more and more I see entertainment like this, just not even hiding it anymore, just ramping up, I know we're in the last days. Like we are living in Sodom and Gomorrah. People don't even know what gender they are. This Babylon, confusion. Nobody knows anything. There's no truth. Everything's relative. We are in the last days and Jesus is coming soon and we need to be ready. Not getting ready or I hope I'm ready. We need to be ready, guys. And I hope that we're not wasting our time entertaining our minds with this garbage that's literally an attack on our God. Imagine how our Father in heaven feels when we're being entertained by entertainment that defames him, that twists his character and makes him a villain and a tyrant. It breaks his heart. And we're spending money on it and time on it. Satan wears many different disguises. He could be a superhero, or hey, you go to that sports event and all of a sudden you're next thing, what's happening here? We're all watching Baal worship. It comes in many different disguises. Tarot reading, yoga, meditation. He's got a tackle box full of bait. You know, if you're not into the dark tarot and occult, Ouija boards and stuff, hey, I got the new age. Hey, it's all about light and love and stretching and clearing your mind. Look, he's got a different flavor for everybody. This used to be me. I'm a victim of what the media can do to somebody. I fell for it. When I saw Marilyn Manson, I said, I want to be just like that. And he became my idol. When I saw The Craft, the movie my parents didn't want me to see, when I saw The Craft, it drew me to witchcraft. And I started wearing pentagrams and wearing all black and looking up spells and do they work and all this stuff and going in graveyards, trying to ghost hunt and playing around with Ouija boards and tarot cards. The media is powerful. Satan is using this tool as a seduction to draw you into the occult, to the new age, to all these things, and to give you his side of the story. He's preaching his gospel and in a much more fascinating way. People go to church and it's like, all right, everyone open up your Bibles. And then you go home and it's like the entertainment world You know, it's Christians could do the same thing. The tool is not evil. Media is not evil. The Bible is media. Our content on our channel is media. It's a powerful tool. It's not evil. It's powerful for good or for bad. I want to see more Christians using this tool and getting the message out. I cannot wait for Sean's anime to come out. Like, it looks amazing. Days of Noah. What a great way to use this powerful tool. Little Light Studios, what a great way to use this tool. Uncommon Ground, what a great way to use the media tool. But Satan has this like unending funding. He has all the money in the world, and he's just putting out this message over and over and over. And we should do the best we can to try and combat that. What would Jesus watch? Would Jesus be reading Super Bail to kids? No, not in a million years. So why would we read to our kids or for ourselves a superhero that is literally a false god repackaged? Jesus knows the power of fiction. In Psalm 101:3, it says, I will set nothing wicked before my eyes. I hate the work of those who fall away. It shall not cling to me. Romans 1:32 says, who knowing the judgment of God, that they which commit such things are worthy of death. Those who do the sin, they're worthy of death. And then it continues and says, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. Think about that. A lot of people say, look, man, I'm not practicing witchcraft. Are you being entertained by it? Are you watching Harry Potter and saying, oh, I love this movie. I can't wait for the next one. I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm binge watching it. If you're being entertained and taking pleasure in watching others do sinful things like witchcraft or fornication or anything wicked, you're just as worthy of death as those who commit it. Because Jesus says, hey, sin starts in the mind. You don't have to commit adultery. Just look at that woman with lust in your heart, and you're committing adultery in your heart. To hate your brother is the same as murder. You might not murder because you don't want to get caught, but in your mind, you're already doing it. God judges the heart. He doesn't just judge the action. And so if we're sitting here playing a murder simulator for hours on end, running around, killing people and getting pleasure out of it, that's wickedness. We got to shut these games off, man. People are spending hours upon hours and just playing a virtual murder simulator all day long, killing millions of people in their lifetime. It's insane. Revelation 12:9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceives the whole world. It doesn't say it deceives a couple of these weak-minded people. It says he's deceiving the whole world. How is he doing it? I believe media is a huge tool for him to do this. Be unique. Stand out. Be a leader. You set the trends. Don't follow the crowd. A lot of people are so worried about what are people going to think if I don't watch that movie or play that game. Who cares? We're not here to please man. We're here to please God, and we're here to try to expand the kingdom and teach the truth and open up other people's eyes. Be a living witness. That quote, it says, everywhere you go, preach the gospel, and if necessary, use words. Our life should be a ministry in itself. Our life should speak to people and say, there's something different about you. And I've witnessed it. Maybe I don't get invited to the parties or whatever, but when somebody is going through a tough time, they're not going to reach out to somebody that's doing the same stuff they are. They're going to reach out to somebody that's different, somebody whose life is on track. And you could be that person if you look different, if you look unique, if you look set apart. You could be the person that someone reaches out to and says, I need help. Can you help me? And you can share the gospel with them. And this person could be set free from a sinful life because they accept Christ in their heart and they have the power to overcome and have victory in their life. Will you choose to enter the narrow door? Will you choose today to set down these wicked things that are time wasters, that are literally an attack on God and glorifying satanic things? Will you choose that today? I pray that you will. It's not easy. These things are nostalgic. They've become a part of our life. They've become addictions in our lives. And we are weak, but he is strong. With his help, we can do all things. So let me pray right now for everyone watching. Lord, Father in heaven, we thank you for your truth. We thank you for your word. We thank you for your prophecies that tell us that this is going to happen, that these days that we live in, that we see all around us, were prophesied 2,000 years ago. It's just amazing to look around and see that we are living in that time that was told was coming. And Lord, I just pray that you would help each and every one of us to set down anything in our life that is opening up a door for the enemy in our life, or that's hurting, this breaking your heart, Lord, that disappoints you. Lord, I don't want to disappoint you. Lord, you gave up everything for me. And I want to give up anything and everything that offends you, Lord, because I know that the truth is not here to offend us. The truth will set us free. You keep nothing good from us. Anything that you say is not, that you don't want us to participate in, is because it's a danger to our life. It's a danger to those around us, a danger to us, and it leads to death and destruction. And Lord, help us to trust you no matter what. Help us to lean not on our own understanding, but to trust in you, Lord, and help us to die to the lust of our flesh every day. Lord, we are weak, but you are strong. You won't take anything out of our life that we're cherishing in any kind of way. But I choose today to surrender everything. Lord, give me the strength to walk away from anything that's holding me back from my relationship with you. Give me the strength to have victory in my life, because we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. And I pray that this is the prayer of everyone watching, that we would turn from this wickedness, that we would set nothing wicked before our eyes, that we would not participate and be entertained by wickedness. Lord, thank you for dying for our sins. Thank you for giving us the gift of everlasting life. And thank you for revealing truth to us more and more every day. I pray for all these presentations that are coming day by day, that you would be with the speakers, that the message would be clear, that eyes would be open, that you would remove the scales from off people's eyes, and that they would make a choice, that they would walk away not the same, that they would change and be changed after hearing these messages. I love you and thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.